Greetings of peace, my friends. Happy and blessed Friday to you. Dr. Z here. And I'm coming in and want to talk a little bit about motivation and what I found to be the number one biggest mistake that women, minorities, entrepreneurs, and business leaders make when it comes to motivation and meeting their needs. You know, we learned many years ago about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is a classic approach to motivation and needs. And of course, it looks at physiological needs, the breathing and food and water, shelter, clothing, sleep, as the bottom rung of needs. Then he talks about safety and security as the next rung up, where we want to have health and employment, property, family, social ability. And I remember in my studies around this, it's like most people don't get past those two levels of needs. Um, the next one, of course, is love and belonging, the need for friendship and family and intimacy, sense of connection. The next level up in his hierarchy is self-esteem, having confidence, achievement, respect for others, and the need to be a unique individual. And then at the top of his pyramid is self actualization. It has something to do with being creative, spontaneous acceptance, really being the most that you can be, fulfilling your life and having a purpose and meaning in your achieving your own individual potential. So the mistake is that we've been taught to follow that order of things, and we put all of our, not all, but most of our attention on, the physiological needs, food, clothing, shelter, and this idea of safety and health and employment and finances and family and all that kind of stuff. And so then we don't find time for the other things. And, I work with people that really want to have more sense of connection. And, people talk about not having self-confidence and not achieving the goals that they really want to achieve. And so what I would offer as a way to get past this mistake of, focusing only on those bottom two rungs is that we need to flip the pyramid around. Because if you start looking at self-actualization, you know, I believe life is about creativity and service. And all of us have a capacity, a human capacity to create. We're not the creator of everything in the heavens and earth. There's only one that has that quality. Yet we have been given a human capacity to create. And when we're not being creative, we're not fulfilling our creativity, then there's a part of us that is missing. Um, and most of the time that is because we're caught up in some type of old limiting beliefs and conditions, influence from our past or from the environment. But if we flip it and we start to think about self-actualizing, what would it mean for you to be living your full potential? What would that look like, right? Because I would offer to you that your potential as a human and your power is much greater than what it is that you think it is and what it is that you've been conditioned to think it is. We all are born with a human design that's unique. Yet we haven't had people encouraging us to be our unique self. Everybody's been encouraging us to be how they want us to be and do what it is that they want us to do. And when we're trying to be creative and do things, and people are not encouraging us to do that, we develop beliefs about ourselves that, oh, maybe I don't know how to do it right. Oh, maybe I'm not good enough. Or maybe I can't do it. Somebody else can do it, but I can't. And so those types of things are keeping us from self-actualizing. But when we start with, what is the purpose? Why are you here? I remember decades ago when I was about to flunk out of Penn State University, and in dealing with the pain of failure, I had to ask myself the question of What is the purpose of my life? Why am I here? Got to be more to life than basketball, parties, and girls. And universal wisdom tells us this life is play and amusement, right? And of course, we can get caught up in that. At that point of failure, I was like, there's got to be more than just play and amusement. What's my purpose? Why am I here? And the interesting thing I learned and I share with you is that once you start asking different questions, you get different answers. In fact, that question was a search for me to self actualize. I didn't know how to do it back then. But in my soul and in my heart, there was a desire to be more than what I was being and what I was perceiving as a failure. Anybody here ever experienced the pain of failure? Put something in the chat. Let me know if you're tracking with what we're talking about so far. Because if we can begin to flip this and figure out, okay, why am I here? What is my purpose? What am I here to create? And begin to move from the inside potential and power that you have. See, we've been conditioned to think that all the answers are outside of us, that somebody else knows the answers. The answers are in another book or get another certification. And that's not true. In fact, that's the false problem, thinking that you don't know enough. And the false solution to go get another book and read or degree. I've been there, done that. Got the t-shirt, right? But what we've discovered is that, and universal wisdom tells us that the Creator is going to guide you from within yourself. All of us, many of us, we can relate to Abraham. Abraham said that my Lord, my guardian, evolver, sustainer will guide me from within myself. And so that becomes, again, another part of the mistake is thinking that the outside is out, the answer is outside. But the answer is really inside. And we begin to look inside. And maybe we need some support to help us to look inside, some kind of process or system to do that. So we can move toward more self-actualization, living our life on purpose. And I had one of my coaches, mentors, talking about what they've discovered in their research is that one of the biggest things that people are afraid of is that they won't fulfill their potential in life. Because by focusing on self-actualization, now we can then begin to increase the whole self-esteem piece, right? We begin to develop more confidence. We begin to achieve more and be our unique, powerful selves. And then we go down to the next rung in Maslow. From that self-actualization and self-esteem, now we develop that self-love, and now we can give love to other people. We can have better friendships and more intimacy, right? We can connect more because first we've connected with ourselves, who we be. And then from there, we'll be able to have the ideas because we put our brain on our purpose, on our achievement, on our sense of connection. And then the brain is going to give us ideas and thoughts and change our perceptions, and synchronicities will happen where we'll be able to take care of those safety and security needs. We'll be able to have better health and earn more money, right? And do more for our family. And as we're able to do all of those things, then our physiological needs will also be met. Food, clothing, and shelter. Even the ability to breathe and sleep. When we're self-actualizing, we're in alignment with intelligence, with the truth about ourselves and what it is we came here to produce. I was some years ago when we moved to California, I was depressed. And in my begging and pleading for some relief, I ran into this formula for resilience. And it was during the pandemic. Actually, when the pandemic started, all of us, most of us, the whole world was in this loss and fear energies. And it was escalated because of the pandemic. But the exception, which I found in this formula for resilience, is to be faithful, meaning to be truthful. Even to be truthful about yourself and to be sincere plus producing something that's useful, plus mutually cooperating with people in what's true and in perseverance. And once I began to use that formula, created a course on resilience, began to teach it to friends and students, and began to have breakthroughs, then that took me out of the depression. But even in that process, as I look back on it, it's like, what was I really wanting to pursue? Was it just the physiological needs and safety? Well, it was definitely a focus. But underneath all of that, it was really trying to self-actualize and fulfill this purpose that I'm here for, which I discovered some years ago, which is to help others grow and to end the suffering from fear so that we can live our human potential in power. And so this idea of self-actualization and flipping what we've been taught about motivation and really starting with pursuing your purpose from your unique individual potential and being creative around that will in fact increase the self-esteem, increase the love and belonging, increase your safety and peace, and also take care of your physiological needs. So we thank you for paying attention. Put some comments in the box if you're resonating with what we're talking about here, if it makes sense to you, if you want to learn more, if you have questions, right? Put some questions in there, and we'll come back and do our best to answer some of the questions that you might have. This self-actualization, this identity thing is real, and I've discovered that my identity is I am Dr. Z, the Reformer, dedicated to significantly changing attitudes, mindsets, behaviors in individuals, organizations, and in society. So subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make some comments on this post if you love it. If you love it, send some love, right? One of the wisdom teachers said, spread love among yourselves. And so that's what we're wanting to do as the Reformer and also as Dr. Z, the Go-Giver. All right. Peace, love. God continue to bless you. Amen.